Hello, I'm Casey O'Mara, Director of Curriculum in Slate Valley, and happy December. And this is the December curriculum update. Um, One thing I have spent time looking through recently is the entries into Swiss, one of the behavioral tools we use to track our ability to teach pro-social behaviors and then be able to respond when we see incidences entered into Swiss in order to better support students in maintaining focus and regulation in classrooms across our system. And so expected to see an increase in the number of entries into Swiss as we spent a good portion of September and October um, teaching routines and expectations. And we did, in fact, see that when you compare the November 2022 to November 2023 entries into Swiss. But it was fantastic to see that there's a significant decline in the number of entries into Swiss from October to November. So that means that our teaching and responding to what we're seeing in Swiss over the course of the first 6 to 8 weeks has really resulted in hopefully students spending more times in classrooms in ways that allows them to access the academic learning of the class. So kudos to all educators and support staff and administrators who have put in the time to make certain that students are supported social, emotionally, and behaviorally in order to access academics in classrooms. In terms of academic data, I recently gave a presentation to the school board um, in November, and I spoke about the recent results we received from VTCAP. I spoke a bit about how we use STAR in some of our continuous improvement goals in our elementary schools and how it is we're drilling down into the data that we gather through STAR 360 to see how it is students are or aren't meeting yearly benchmarks as we reflect on the 3 times a year data and then progress monitoring that we do in between with certain students between those benchmark assessment times. And then comparing also subgroups, looking at performance in literacy and math, and then looking at what the Agency of Education considers marginalized, historically marginalized groups of students. And so looking at students in IEPs and free and reduced lunch students and how they perform in comparison to historically non-marginalized groups or historically privileged groups. So those students who aren't receiving free or reduced lunch and students that aren't identified as needing behavioral or academic supports qualifying them for an individualized education plan. Um, also, wanted to reflect on those experiences teachers and administrators are having with the new supervision and evaluation pilot that's taking place. So there's about 25 educators in our system who are part of that pilot, and I included some reflection that we did as a group of administrators um, helping craft that pilot. And these were our reflections in November about our kind of first steps with this pilot with educators that we're working with. And the hope is that we'll gain some feedback from those educators participating in the pilot so that we can share that out as we learn through this new supervision evaluation model together. Thank you for all that you do, and please take time to enjoy December. I know it's hectic, but it's also exciting. And please let me know if I can help with anything.